Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivara Dari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivara Dari Jasodanandana Brajajanarandana Jasodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanapchadi Jamuna Tira Vanapchadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivara Dhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivara Dhari Girivara Dhari Jasodanandana Brajajanarandana Jasodanandana Brajajanarandana Brajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachadi Jamuna Tira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Astatarasatasi Simad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gora Premanandi Haribo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. Continuing with Canto 10, Chapter 14, Brahma's Prayers. A little further thought from yesterday's discussion on free will. just this morning I was hearing Prabhupada explaining it in a different way. His explanation was, what's the difference between material and spiritual? Material means forgetfulness of Krishna. Spiritual means remembrance of Krishna. He was explaining Mayatatamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtinaha, that verse, 9th chapter. And matstani sarvabhutani, all living entities are situated on me or in me. And so his explanation was that how Krishna is situated everywhere is through his energy. And then he gave a practical example, the practical example of government. There's the government, and there's the energy of the government or the machinery of the government. And the government works by the energy of the government. Then he gave the example of two departments, the education department and the prison department. And in the prison department, persons are situated there under the jurisdiction of the government because they're criminals. And the education department are living entities who are scholars, and they're situated in a scholarly position because of their free will choice, and therefore they're in the education department. But the government is there in both cases, making the distinction material, spiritual, the prison and the enlightened ones, or the educated ones, within the material sphere. So free will, which department do you want? And then when you're in this department or that department, there's still free will, but in all circumstances, you're under the government. So it's another way of saying that, having the discussion that we had yesterday. Do we have free will? Yes. Limited. You can choose this department or that department. You can choose forgetting Krishna, remembering Krishna. And then in the remembrance of Krishna, there's varieties of free will expression. And in the forgetfulness of Krishna, likewise. But we're under Krishna's jurisdiction. There is free will. But we're under his jurisdiction. There's not unlimited free will. That we don't have a choice about. That's not a free will matter. I don't want to be under Krishna's jurisdiction. Sorry. You're under Krishna's jurisdiction. Oh, then you don't have free will. You have free will. Limited. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We did this already, right? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It's nice to say it again. We're continuing with the second verse. We'll be completing the second verse and starting on the third verse. And you might want to get your handheld device out because we're going to chant together the third verse. The translation for verse number 2, 10:14:2. My dear Lord, neither I nor anyone else can estimate the potency of this transcendental body of yours, which has shown such mercy to me, and which appears just to fulfill the desires of your pure devotees. Although my mind is completely withdrawn from material affairs, I cannot understand your personal form. How then could I possibly understand the happiness you experience within yourself? So here he's stating the answer to his curiosity question. What's the limit of the mystic power of Krishna? The answer is there's no way to estimate it, or there is no limit, which is what was shown. Jiva Goswami's Krama Sandarbha is his commentary that's verse by verse commentary. Kramasandarbha commentary reads, even by controlling the mind, no one can understand the greatness of this form of the Lord of the universe, which manifested in many four-armed forms, but which is actually you, the one form of Swayam Bhagavan, who gave me mercy by your own will, which spreads throughout the universe in many spiritual forms and possesses bliss, which can be understood only by yourself. Paragraph, having seen Krishna's greatness, he speaks with reverence, seemingly indifferent to praising him because of his confusion. Interesting. Seemingly indifferent to praising him because of his confusion. So he's giving mercy to Brahma. He's giving mercy to all living entities because by nature he is merciful. And how does that mercy manifest? Is according to the inclination and qualification of the candidate to receive his mercy. And something that we heard yesterday evening is being repeated here. It was Sanatana Goswami's commentary, but this saying that Krishna spreads through the universe in many spiritual forms. It's yet another concept. He spreads through the universe through his potencies. That's we just discussed at the very beginning, the 9th chapter Bhagavad Gita. His unmanifested form, just heard it this morning, Prabhupada is saying, that means his potencies. Of course, it could mean other things to other commentators, but Prabhupada was speaking this morning, Melbourne, Australia, 1976, April, that it means his energies are spread everywhere, like the sun is spread everywhere by the sunshine. He's spread everywhere through his energies, his avyakta murti. Then he's spread everywhere by his Brahman effulgence. Where is there a place where there isn't Brahman effulgence? Everything's within the Brahman effulgence. The whole of Mahatattva is a cloud within the Brahman effulgence. And then on the other side of Mahatattva is the Brahman effulgence. Everywhere is the Brahman. He's spread everywhere by his Brahman effulgence. And he's spread everywhere by many spiritual forms. Now, one way to think of those many spiritual forms is the Paramatma feature. But Krishna is not limited to the Paramatma feature to be spread himself in his spiritual forms everywhere, although not visible, not necessarily visible. An example is Lord Nrsimhadev appearing from a pillar. Where is Vishnu? He's everywhere. So one can say that's the Paramatma feature. But Lord Nrsimhadev doesn't exactly look like the Paramatma feature. There's other things going on with his form. So is there a limit? No limit. So he's spread everywhere throughout the universe in many spiritual forms. And as we heard yesterday evening, because it's directly from the verse, the criterion of the Swayam Bhagavan feature is the bliss of the Swayam Bhagavan feature, which no one can estimate. So he who is the spread everywhere through the universe in many spiritual forms possesses bliss which can't be understood by others, only by himself. Now let's chant together text number 3, or chant responsively. 10, 14, 3. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva. Jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiyavartam. Stanesta takshruti gatam tanavan manobhir. Ye prayaso jito jita jito pyasi traistrilokyam. We'll chant this each morning and evening as we go through the voluminous commentary on this verse. The translation, this is, I believe, taken directly from Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it's, here it is. Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge and, with their body, words, and mind, offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the 3 worlds. Purport. Here the word udapasya clearly indicates that one should not even slightly endeavor to understand the absolute truth by the process of mental speculation, for it invariably carries one to an imperfect, impersonal understanding of God. The word jivanti indicates that a devotee always hears about Lord Krishna, will go back home, back to Godhead, even if he can do nothing except maintain his existence and hear topics concerning the Lord. Srila Sanatana Goswami has explained the words tanu van manobhihi, or by the body, words, and mind, in 3 ways. In reference to devotees, through their body, words, and mind, they are able to conquer Lord Krishna. Thus, becoming perfect in Krishna consciousness, they can touch his lotus feet with their hands, call him to come with their words, and attain his direct audience with their mind, simply by thinking about him. In the case of non-devotees, the words tanu van manobhihi refer to the word ajita, or unconquered, and indicate that those not engaged in the loving service of Lord Krishna cannot conquer the absolute truth by their bodily strength, verbal expertise, or mental power. Despite all their endeavors, the ultimate truth remains beyond their reach. In reference to the word jitaha, or conquered, the word tanu van manobhihi indicate the words tanu van manobhihi indicate that the pure devotees of Lord Krishna conquer his body, words, and mind. Lord Krishna's body is conquered because he always remains by the side of his pure devotees, semicolon. Lord Krishna's words are conquered because he chants the glories of his devotees, and Lord Krishna's mind is conquered because he always thinks about his loving devotees. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained the words Tanuvan Manobhihi in regard to the word Namantaha, or offering obeisances. He explains that the devotees can take full advantage of the transcendental topics of the Lord by offering all respects to those topics with their body, words, and mind. One should engage his body by touching the ground with his hands and head while offering obeisances to the topics of the Lord. One should engage his words by praising transcendental literatures such as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as the devotees who are preaching such literatures. And one should engage his mind by feeling great reverence and pleasure while hearing the transcendental topics of the Lord. In this way, a sincere devotee who has acquired even a small amount of transcendental knowledge about Lord Krishna can conquer him and thus go back home, back to Godhead, for eternal life at the Lord's side. Vrindavan, from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. He quotes a verse that's from the Shrutis and then explains it. The verse from the Shrutis is Tarhi tam eva viditva atim tyum eti, or knowing Brahman, one can surpass death. If that is the case, then how can an ignorant person attain liberation? This verse answers that question. Quote, not making any endeavor for knowledge, udapasya, the devotees who, though by nature are quiet, loudly chant, Sanmukaditam, your glories, bhavati avartam, or the glories of your associates, being situated in the abode of devotees, rather than traveling around to holy tirthas, stane statak, and who hear topics about your name, qualities, and pastimes, shrutikatam, starting with body, words, and mind, involving all the senses by touching the earth with head and hands, by glorifying the Lord with words, by using intelligence to grasp the meaning of the subject heard. Those who pass their life in this way without doing anything else, these devotees conquer you, though you are unconquered by anyone else in the three worlds. You are not conquered by those who attain liberation through jnana. Indeed, to cross samsara by merely hearing about you is astonishing. One portion of your topics is knowledge of Brahman, and by that they cross samsara. That is the meaning of the Shruti statement, quote, knowing Brahman, one surpasses death. Now, we had a really extended question-answer session in the morning, so I was thinking of keeping the reading portion short because it's packed. Just to review a little bit, at the end of verse 2 and verse 3, they flow. You have to contemplate carefully how they flow. But so the beginning, one way of describing the beginning is describing the form and Brahma's appeal to attain that form, attain association with Krishna in his Swayam Bhagavan feature, to serve him intimately as the devotees in Vrindavan serve him. And after describing his form comes his excellences or his other characteristics, although said there were some other characteristics in the first verse. And the appreciation, the second verse of Brahma, about the indescribable unlimited, unknowable feature of his potencies, what to speak of his happiness, this being the highest form. It's just an indirect, and so you can take it, extract, and it's a glorification that this is the original form of the personality of Godhead. By just one of those expansions that you exhibited, you have showed me great mercy. Now it's not only that, you're showing me the original form from which all those other forms come. And then this verse is how to understand that form and how to not understand that form. Now he's saying he doesn't understand and no one can understand. That's verse 2. Neither I nor anyone else can estimate the potency of this transcendental body of yours. So it's not, now we have the key to understand that which nobody can understand. The inconceivable nature of Krishna's potencies remains inconceivable, even if you're the topmost devotee. You can understand some aspects. Our acharyas speak of some of those aspects. The Bhagavatam enumerates, just like from chapter 12, when the Vishnu forms or Narayan forms were exhibited, so many potencies, but is there a limit? There's no limit. Those potencies were personified. He saw it. He saw the personifications of those potencies. We can assume he understood. There's this potency, that potency, and the other potency, although it didn't have like a name badge or something. He understood. And that to some extent, the unknowable is knowable. To some extent, the unconquerable can be conquered. But the conquering of Ajita is unavailable to persons like Brahma, Shiva, and even the goddess of fortune compared to Mother Yashoda. She's in a class of her own, or for that matter, all the Brijbasis. So we're getting a picture of the knowing the unknowable, or unknowing what you know about the unknowable. But so the text 3, the goal of life and how to achieve it is here. We can say the goal is to conquer the unconquerable, or to know the unknowable, or to not even think about the unlimited potencies of Krishna, and to conquer Krishna with love. And when Krishna is conquered with love, it's not through knowing him, it's through love. Meaning, these two features that are Krishna's, this is Krishna Tattva topic. The two features of Krishna, that is his unlimited potencies, the potential feature, potency feature, and the sweetness feature, they're within Krishna simultaneously, but to know the fullness of the sweetness feature, which then becomes so strong it eclipses the potency feature, that's the topmost kind of love. Now, we're not belittling or minimizing in any way or offending those who are pure devotees. If one who does like that, they've got a problem. Offensiveness. But our scriptures, we certainly can repeat what our scriptures say. Just like that nice verse from chapter 12 that speaks of the super excellent position of the cowherd boys. And the super excellent position of the cowherd boys is specifically said to be more fortunate than those who are Dasya Bhaktas, realized Dasya Bhaktas. What to speak of the other categories, the Gyanis that do their meditation and cannot touch a particle of the dust of his lotus feet. Those who are pursuing Brahma Sukh, they see Krishna in that way, the materialist, of course, the residents of Vrindavan are superlative. So how to get there? Is it accessible to us? It's accessible to us. And the method is being described. Udapasya, so the commentary so far. Throwing far away is how the word for word. Giving up completely, or literally throwing far away, giving up completely. The effort to understand things through the speculative process. Yane prayasa udapasya, namanta eva, nice description of the meaning of namanta. I'll just read that again, it was very nice. It's in the BBT commentary. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained the word tanu van manobihi in regard to the word namantaha, or offering obeisances. So if you want to know how to offer obeisances so that you can achieve Krishna Loka, listen carefully. He explains that the devotees can take full advantage of the transcendental topics of the Lord by offering all respects to those topics. With their body, words, and mind, one should engage his body by touching the ground with his hands and head while offering obeisances to the topics of the Lord. One should engage his words by praising transcendental literatures such as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as the devotees who are preaching such literatures. And one should engage his mind by feeling great reverence and pleasure while hearing the transcendental topics of the Lord. Namantaha. In this way, a sincere devotee who has conquered even a small amount of transcendental knowledge about Lord Krishna can conquer him and thus go back home, back to Godhead for eternal life at the Lord's side. So, namanta eva. Jnane prayasa udapasya namanta eva. Jivanti. So again, this Jivanti word is explained nicely. We'll hear it several times more. In reference to the word, no, here we go. Jivanti. No, not there. Yeah. The word Jivanti indicates that a devotee who always hears about Lord Krishna will go back home, back to God, and even if he can do nothing except maintain his existence and hear the topics concerning the Lord. Jiva Goswami explains this word Jivanti means just live. Just live. As by Vedic culture or law, if the son outlives the father, then the son inherits the property of the father. Jivanti. Just has to live. And the property of the father becomes the property of the son. So to just live means to live one's life in this manner of taking shelter in or offering obeisances to, having great regard and respect and faith in the topics of the personality of Godhead, and those who are reciting the topics of the personality of Godhead in a proper manner. that verse from second chapter, first canto. Oh, we'll hear some more as we go along. It's a very important verse, so we'll spend some time. Stane shatak shruti gatam tanavan manobir yiprayaso ajita jitaha pyasi traisti lokyam. So let's see if there's some discussion on this. 5 after 8, right behind you.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for choosing this topic and really going deep within each of these prayers. This particular verse is like ever hope-giving for me whenever I remember. Just one thing I want to clarify, Guru Maharaj. When you were describing about this namanti, like namanta, you read it again, offering obeisances. I was always thinking we offer obeisances to the devotees or the deities, Krishna's form. But this is beautiful, like offering obeisances to the glories or activities of the Lord. Is it describing the non-difference between
Yes.
Krishna and...
Yes. The Bhagavatam is Krishna. Krishna is the Bhagavatam. The pastimes of Krishna in the Bhagavatam are Krishna. But it's specific, the translation reads the topics of, but it means the book or the sound vibration.
So is it just having that faith in the heart, or we literally offer obeisances, like as it's mentioned with the body, mind, head and...
Whichever you like. But, offering obeisances physically without the heart isn't the same as with the heart. So it's, either. We don't put the Bhagavatam on the floor. We don't put the Bhagavatam in a position. You get the idea. So it's our deity. It doesn't mean you don't need other deities, but if you have other deities, this is also deity, as the name is also non-different. Okay.
Yes, Maharaj. Just want to thank you for that description of the government analogy for the free will. As you were mentioning, there is no question about questioning why I have to be under the jurisdiction of Krishna. That really was very clear, because I think most often my question is, why don't I have the free will choice to go out of, Krishna's system or control?
You do. Then you're under the care of Maya. That's the prison. I want to have unlimited free will. I have no boundaries, no restrictions, lawless. There's a place for you, called the prison, for the lawless. And even within the prison, there's limits of exercise of free will. Those that are, good criminals, they have a little more liberty than those that are not. Those that are not, there's more confinement. But under the jurisdiction of... Here's the microphone. Anyone in the room? Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Couple of things. I really appreciate that question about free will. Even though I understood why we were here, I think it really made it clear for me, what made us come here after hearing that answer from you. So thank you very much. I had a couple of questions. One is, in today's class, you mentioned that Brahman effulgence is everywhere. Is this also avyakta form, like we are not able to see it? Why there is darkness?
I want to be clear what your question is. Say it again.
So,
Are we in the Brahma effulgence right now? Is that your question?
yes.
Yes.
So that is also avyakta form, like we are
Yes.
not able to see it?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Now, avyakta murti can mean multiple things. And that's one of the multiple things. But another is his energies. So that's the universal form. Who can see the universal form of Yaktamurti? But it's there. And if Krishna wishes to show, he can show.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay.
And second question I had, the last line in that the paragraph you read about offering reverence, also feeling reverence about that really, this verse really helped me understand why we are systematically reading Srila Prabhupada's books.
And when we finish reading, we go, wow, and then we get distracted and we have to go back to square one again. Because we're conditioned souls that are absorbed in the temporary.
Yeah.
So that there's regular hearing required.
But then recently I heard from somewhere about the effect of radiation from the all the screens we are on, and I was feeling
To get
because
the books.
I prefer reading as a ebooks, bookmark and everything. But that reverence is, I feel that when I'm holding the book. So if you have any instruction for us.
You're just making a comment. I have a preference too, but this is useful. I can't carry my library with me. I can carry my computer. Okay. Over the corner.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for this morning, the beginning of the class,
You heard it.
clarifying this. Yes.
Okay.
So just like Amrita Keli Mataji said, it was really helpful, that analogy of government. I was just contemplating why I'm having these thoughts about this free will, and we're reading the section in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto, where Prabhupada is really, I was feeling very heavy in describing that nobody's independent. Everything is in a jurisdiction of the Lord. So hearing that over and over again, I was thinking that these thoughts were coming. And then I was thinking further, is it like my rebellious nature that's surfacing, or is it attack of a Maya to question where I'm questioning, or is it my faith that is not so strong to go in this route? Or is it all
What
of
answer did you
it?
come up with? It's probably a combination of all those things. Sometimes, not often, Prabhupada would be very gentle, but sometimes he was confrontational. And it's good to be confronted with, our attachments and our predispositions. And especially with modernity, where, we're all equal and rights and rebelliousness. So it's the combination of many things. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just come to the, where is coming from is maybe an important and interesting question to ask, but more important is to go to the conclusion, go towards light. That will help remove the darkness, whatever the sources of the darkness are. You follow what I'm saying? Embrace the fact, revel in the fact, I'm always under Krishna's protection. You can say, oh, I'm always under Krishna's control. I'm always under Krishna's protection. Just like a child. You have some children, always under the parents' protection. No, at some point they grow up and when I'm 18, I'm out of here. But, there's the relationship doesn't end because they moved out of the house when they turned 18 or something like that. The affection is always there, with loving parents, and then so there is a fundamental rebelliousness within each of us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. But that's not necessarily the entire. Getting clarity as to, who am I really? And once that light goes on, oh, that's who I am really, then it's quite okay to be under Krishna's control in all circumstances. Mother Jasoda is under Krishna's control because she can't bind him unless he allows her to bind him. But she controls Krishna because of her love. Oh. Let me get up there with Mother Jasoda and see if I can control Krishna too. It will never happen that way. Okay?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question, we were discussing the other day about the topic of great yogis or jnanis. They are not directly getting the mercy of the Lord like the devotees do. They are also very sincere in their approach to get the absolute truth. With their understanding, maybe Brahman or Paramatma. But why is that Lord is not showing the ultimate thing, the personal form, give them the way? Is that they get the association of devotees, they don't, they are not receptive to it, or they don't get that?
It could be anything. Whatever one's disposition of heart is, maybe because one's stubborn, or maybe because one hasn't received the good fortune of devotee association, etc., a combination of things. But the bottom line is Krishna is reciprocating with them according to their regard for him. So the real question is, how to give association to those that have yet to receive Krishna's mercy in that form, and you'll find some tall walls and some barriers and some locked doors. And you'll also find people welcoming. So Krishna doesn't force his mercy upon people. He reciprocates. And then his devotees kind of intercede on his behalf and appeal to people to take Krishna's mercy. It's different. There's no one cause. It's this or that.
Because my question was coming because they are more sincere compared to maybe people.
Well,
like
you say more sincere. I don't know if that's true. They may be more stoic, but they're not more sincere. They may have evolved in terms of lesser allure, at least temporarily, lesser allure to the temporary. But that doesn't mean more sincere. It just means they've strap down their senses and their mind a little better. And it's not easy to achieve that. So credit goes to them for that. But failure in the exam. Something online?
So this is from Snehavalli Mataji. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, I'm thinking of Kayadu. She heard the topics of Krishna for 100 celestial years, but then also she was not purified. We discussed that it was because she was attached, she forgot. It seems very contradictory because the purport and the verse both stresses on hearing.
She got enormous benefit. She got enormous benefit. And not full benefit. Krishna fulfilled the other feature of her consciousness besides benefit, and that is, the attachment to a demon. So, I don't see a difficulty. It's not a contradiction. Move on. And thank you for attending class at 4:30 in the morning. No, it's 5:30 in the morning over there. Excuse me.
And this question is from Anita Mataji. What is the mode of Rajavasis that Krishna loves them so much?
Their love for him, unrestricted, unqualified love for him, attracts him so much.
And two questions from Shamakund Prabhu. We heard from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary that we serve Krishna with our mind by appreciating the topics of the Supreme Lord. First question. For some, doing this may result in too much mental analysis and no service using one's body, or equivalently not being in the moment to serve devotees. What are some steps that you would like to suggest for devotees with such a predilection to render service using one's mind?
Well, don't delete the other two departments. See that you're nicely engaged in the other two departments. And that's the real standard of engaging the mind properly, is there's alignment. We were using this word the other day. There's alignment with the physical and the deep devotional spirit. So serving the devotees, we don't, put that over in the corner or out of sight. So alignment is the key word I would recommend. See that there's a proper engagement of the body and the words as well as the mind.
Prabhu's second question is, there is a purifying potency in engaging our mind in appreciating the pastimes or activities of the Supreme Lord. But some devotees find it intimidating to read scripture. They find happiness in service, but think that their educational background makes them feel ineligible to study on their own. Can we encourage such devotees to hear others and gradually nudge them to read Srimad Bhagavatam such that they begin to appreciate scripture on their own? Any other steps that you would suggest?
I've been hearing of late, the past month and a half, during this pandemic situation, of many devotees that say, I'm more attracted to service and I have a hard time understanding some of the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's not But such people, by regularly hearing, then slowly, such people have been sharing with me, their attraction for the topics is growing. And the parts they can't understand, they shrug their shoulders and move on. They don't feel bad about themselves because they can't understand it, or they're not attracted to Sankhya philosophy and the process of creation and some other things that are a little difficult. It's okay. The hearing the topics is enjoyable, and especially in the company of devotees that are enjoying the topics. So that's something that I can recommend. Hear regularly in the association of others. There's all kinds of reading group things going on. And new people, medium people, elevated people, devotees are finding their own happiness in those activities. Just like last night, a very new couple, 1 hour every day, 5 days of the week, with busy lives and 2 kids. 1 hour every day for 5 days of the week. And they really look forward to it. Oh, reading groups in association. Let's see how long this pandemic lasts, and then see what happens afterwards.
Snehavalli Mataji's follow-up question. Could you please explain, she says, sorry Guru Maharaj, could you please explain what was the enormous benefit Kayadu received?
Narada's association and the topics that Narada was explaining. Now, it doesn't say specifically that he was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. He was speaking transcendental knowledge.
This question is from Rupa Vilas Prabhu. Could you please clarify what is Jnana Prayasa and what is not? For example, we are reading Bhagavad Gita and trying to understand. Is that not a Jnana Prayasa?
It all depends on intention. This is a topic that came up in Potomac, and here it is again. One can read Bhagavad Gita again and again, as a Jnani reads Bhagavad Gita again and again. One can read Bhagavad Gita again and again as a devotee reads Bhagavad Gita again and again. And the difference is the intention behind the reading. It's not, if it's an intellectual endeavor, and by my intellect I'm going to master the subject of Bhagavad Gita, then that's a Jnana Prayasa. If one is a devotee, and I wish to understand, is still the operative principle, and one tries to understand, but one understands through the medium of bhakti. It's a little bit like the question Shamakunda asked. I enjoy reading topics, but I don't enjoy doing service. And what to speak of, dealing with devotees, because it distracts from my endeavors to feel happiness reading topics. So it's the intention question that makes the difference.
This is from Atulya Mataji. Can we chant on behalf of someone, and will they get the full benefit of the chanting?
They can get significant benefit for sure. It's not the same, not 100% interchangeable whether they chant or you chant on their behalf.
This question is from Radha. How can we get the love of Brajavasis that they have for Krishna?
That's our life question. By hearing about, by remembering, by glorifying, by namanta eva, by offering our obeisances with our head and hands or with our heart to the topics about those Brijvasis, you become in this way a follower of them. That's it.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. We're also in a reading group. Vamshitari Prabhu has gotten us started and we are reading every day. So that's really wonderful.
1 hour every day,
About 45 minutes is what
every
we
day,
do
5 days.
5 days.
Zowie. Nice going.
And we are actually in 2, chapter 9, Canto 2, chapter 9. And that is also, how Brahma is talking about that. So in that, the Lord talks about how he had ordered Brahma to undergo penance, and because of his, the translation says that you were perplexed in your duty, such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. So between penance, of course, Brahmaji had his duties were huge. For us, I mean, between penance and what we are doing seems so simple.
Yeah.
But are we?
Yes, we are. Now, contrastingly, supposing somebody doesn't do what you're doing, they'll have another penance, an austerity in the material field without the spiritual benefit and spiritual fruit. But now back to your question. Yes, that's prescribed. You're doing what's prescribed, that's equivalent. Your capacity isn't what Brahma's capacity is. So the assignment of penance for you is according to capacity. It's not like, you can do what he did, and for 100 celestial years you do what he did, and then knowledge gets imparted within your heart, and you go, wow, I got knowledge within my heart. That's not going to happen. Nor is it what's required of you. So it's appropriate for your situation. It's merciful. So count your good fortune. Yeah? Yes, one more? 2 more.
So, Radha's follow-up question. Do we have to think that Krishna is not God like the Vrajavasis thought because that was their mood to go back to Vrindavan?
No. You have to, you can't get there by thinking Krishna is not God. You can get there by thinking Krishna is God, and then by Krishna's kindness, he may cover you with Yogamaya where you forget. But that's in Krishna's hand, not yours.
This is from Amara Mataji. How does one understand a time to surrender and a time for prayasa?
Well, how are they different? Like the question, God helps those who help themselves. Or this feeling fully dependent. So if I just feel fully dependent, then I don't make any effort. I'll sit in a hammock and sip lemonade, and Krishna's going to take care of everything. I don't have to endeavor, because I'm told not to endeavor. So God helps those who help themselves. It doesn't change our position of dependence. We're dependent. And He's independent. We make effort, prayasa, and we're dependent upon His mercy. They're not mutually contradictory. They're the perfect companion, effort and mercy. Prabhupada ki jai.